Bonjour, 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 and welcome back to the Waves of Your Soul. I am your humble French tarot reader slash deck goblin marine, and today I'm super excited to be doing a VR to the hashtag my first five, last five, where we are invited to introduce and present and talk about the first five tarot and oracle decks we ever got, how our practice has evolved, and I thought it would be a really fun exercise I wanted to share with you guys, so I felt called to do a VR to this one. So this is a VR to Moonflower Moments, Katie, and so of course I'm gonna link the original video down below. Go and send some love, go and subscribe, go and check it out. Of course, as usual, if you click on the hashtag, you'll be able to see all the other people who have done VRs for this one. So that was a cool exercise. It's interesting to see how over the years we evolve as tarot readers, or sometimes not, as you're gonna see. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. So if you're new, I want to say a huge welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoy tarot readings and if you enjoy content about tarot and oracle cards, this is the place to be. Definitely subscribe. In the description box, you're gonna find all the names of the decks I am mentioning today. So if you are ever curious about what they are, make sure to leave everything. You'll also find my other social media links. I mostly hang out on Instagram and YouTube these days, as well as other videos of mine you may want to check out. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's have a look at my first five tarot and oracle decks and my last five tarot and oracle decks. Let's go back in time a little bit and enjoy a little bit of nostalgia. Okay, so let's start with obviously my first five, and I have to start with my very first tarot deck. Oh, this one is so special, you guys. This is why I love those kind of tags when we get to go back in time, because it takes me back to a time where I didn't know tarot, everything felt magical, and it still does, but for different reasons. Like back then, tarot felt like this unknown beast almost that I was a little bit scared to apprehend and to get to know, whereas now tarot feels like a companion, a best friend, like a familiar that's with me constantly. They both feel as magical as each other. That unknownness of, you know, the beginnings, of not knowing anything about it, of taking one step at a time through the dark. It was thrilling. There's nothing like it. The idea of getting to know the mysteries of tarot, of slowly getting familiar with it, of daring to step into the unknown, it was the best feeling. And this deck was just so special, obviously, because it was my first one. One day, when I decided to get into tarot, I had ordered the RWS because I was like, hearing everywhere that this is what is the kind of go-to to learn on. I had ordered some books to learn. I had seen a lot of people reading with that, and I was like, I'm gonna go with that. But that day took ages to arrive, and in the meantime I decided to go to the bookshop with my dad. Actually, we did a little family bookshop trip, and this is where I found my first deck. So whilst technically I had ordered the RWS, and I'll show you the one I have at the time, the actual first one I held in my hand was this one. And this is in French, the French version. So in French it's called Le Tarot des Royaumes Cachés, but you might know it as the Hidden Realms Tarot. And as you can see, my copy is so bold. It's not even a bow. It's like a bridge at this point. I had to edge it at least 5 times by now because it was beaten to death. The edges were so gross, and yet I could never part with this, because I get emotional just still talking about it. When I went to the bookshop, I literally just let myself be guided to the kind of deck I wanted, and it didn't even have that many choices, so it was not like I was facing a lot of choice. But this one, something about it called to me, and I remember going back to the car, opening the box, holding the tarot in my hands, and feeling that magical, literally strike of destiny, like Harry Potter holding his wand in Ollivander's shop. That's how I felt when I held this deck for the first time. I felt excited and curious, just so many feelings at once. I think scared because I didn't know what tarot was about, but also curious because I really wanted to learn, and also powerful because as soon as I held those cards in my hand, I knew tarot was gonna change my life. And I know that sounds really dramatic. That you guys are probably like, you're making this up. You make it sound very dramatic. I really am not. I'm not lying to you guys. I'm telling you, the day I held my first deck in my hand, I felt this surge of inner knowing that I would never be the same person after using this than before. It was like meeting at a crossroad with destiny almost, where you are like, wow, this is a sense of belonging. This is a sense of I am where I'm meant to be. And there was definitely a sense of feeling scared a little bit because I had all the apprehensions that other people had about tarot. Is it gonna tell me I'm gonna die? Is it gonna tell me bad things? Is it gonna predict things I don't want to happen? There was a lot of preconceived notions that people impose on us, and yet there was excitement, there was curiosity, there was wonder. Oh my god, yeah. Like I said, I still get emotional thinking about that. Is this the easiest deck to learn on? Absolutely not. Would I recommend this to beginners? Probably not. Was it the best deck I could have gotten at that time? Yes. Because like I said, the fact that this was my first one, it comes with a wonderful guidebook. The French version is now out of print, but you can still get this in English. Because I got this one and then straight after, finally I received my RWS copy, which I'll share with you quickly after, I had suddenly decks in my hand. So I had this one, and then I had this one, which I had ordered, and it finally had arrived. So when this arrived, this was my study deck, and this was my practice deck. And because it's yours again, the box is beat up, I ended up cutting my copy off, because at the time, I don't know, I was in the phase of cutting all my decks' border. I kind of regret it now because it was my first deck. I don't know, I wish I had left the borders because they were all dirty and tattered and damaged, and it kind of gave this deck its energy really. And then I don't know why I decided to cut the borders off, and ever since then it's not like it's lost its magic because this one is still really precious to me, but I miss the disgusting borders that were all tattered and dirty because they were really showing how much I loved it and used this deck. And yeah, I don't know why I cut it off, but I guess I was going through a phase of wanting to be a savage with my scissors, which I go through sometimes. But anyway, so as soon as I had this one obviously was the one I would use next to books I read and courses I took and whatever. But having this as my very first one, which is so different from a traditional deck, which is so not an RWS, it was really the thing that taught me straight away, you need to have the knowledge, right? You need to have the basics. You need to understand where this comes from, the history, the esoteric meaning, the associations. At least in my book, I'm an eternal student. I love to learn. So as soon as I delved into tarot, I wanted to learn everything. And I, to this day, still read books constantly about tarot. I listen to podcasts. I take people's courses, even though I feel like by now, tarot, I know it really well. I still believe there's always something to learn, something new to expand. I'm an eternal student. And I really believe that in order for you to be a good reader, you need a foundational knowledge, right? You need that. You need to understand where it comes from, what are the associations, why the people who made these decks drew it this way, what was their influences, everything. But it taught me also straight away, very early on, that you also need to trust your intuition, that there is another layer to tarot, which is that it's not explainable by words and keywords and dictate meanings in little white books and books, but actually comes from lived experiences, that comes from your human experience, that comes from channeling even something that can be higher than yourself. There is a whole layer of magic to tarot, and not just magic but intuition. Even if you don't believe in spirit, in source, whatever, you have to believe in intuition, right? It's like it's something that we can't deny, we all have. And it is true that for me tarot is this mix of both, and straight away, because these were my first two decks, I had the intuitive, magical, if I can say that, very like sacred channeled side of tarot, and I had the practical, grounded, I don't want to say scientific, but you know what I say when I mean like the book-based like layer of knowledge. And having those two as my first decks have really influenced my way of reading, because like I said, to this day I still read books about tarot. I am still fascinated to learn more. It's something that I find super important to expand my knowledge of tarot. But trusting my intuition, tapping into the more unexplainable side of tarot, the more magical side of tarot, is what this deck taught me, because as you can see, this is mostly faces, it's fey energy, it's mischievous, it's magical, it's powerful. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm so grateful these were my first two decks. I feel like they really built me to be the reader I am today. I would not change it for the world, to be honest. So these were my first two tarot decks. Then let's talk about my first oracle deck that I got quite a while after my first two tarot. I definitely got into tarot and was using these two decks for a long time before I got into oracle at all. And the first oracle deck I got is still a huge favorite. This is the Spirit Animal Oracle. It's by Colette Baron-Reid, and I still love this deck. I should have said so. This one, I don't really read with it anymore. Like I said, I kind of regret cutting off the borders, and I have other RWS that I prefer now. I still keep it for like altar work and stuff like that. This one is still definitely use it, but only for myself. I don't think I'd read for anyone else than me with this. We have such a bonded, strong connection. I know this creator has done a newer deck. I don't even want it because I just love this one so much that I don't want anything to compete with this, right? This is very special, and I don't use it a lot, but every time I do, it's quite profound, so I kind of use it for big things like birthday readings or Wheel of the Year or things like that. Talking about oracle, this was my first oracle. Like I said, I got it way after tarot. I was reading with tarot for quite a while before I got into oracle. I don't know why I didn't get into oracle sooner. I guess I had plenty to sink my teeth into with tarot. Like I said, I was obsessed with all the learning and reading books and watching people read, and it was just a world that I would dive deep into. I was like Obelix jumping into the cauldron I didn't want to go at. And so it took me quite a while to look around and realize there were other forms of divination. And this was my first deck. I think I got this in my first oracle, sorry. I got this in 2019, I think, when it came out. Here are the backs. You can see I've edged this again numerous times because this was definitely looking rough. Those edges are disgusting underneath the layer of glamour put over them. I mean, I really love this deck. I still use it to this day. It's definitely one that I'm again very grateful for my past self to decide to get, because this was an awesome first oracle deck to get into, because I love animals and the guidebook is awesome. You have reversed and upward meanings, and you have key phrases on the cards, and so as a daily draw, which is what I was using this one for, it was so great. Like having this to pull a card from every day, and then so many magical synchronicity happening, like pulling the dolphin card and seeing a dolphin, for example, which is way more likely for me to happen than seeing a skunk, because we don't have those in Reunion, but we do have dolphins. Really beautiful deck. Just very kind, easy to use, very approachable. It's a deck I've recommended to many people over the years, because even if you've never read with oracle cards, which was my case, I was definitely a tarot girly, this was so easy to get into, and it really taught me how to use other oracles too, because the guidebook by Colette Baron-Reid is awesome. It gives you spreads, it gives you example of reading, and it absolutely helped me getting familiar with using oracles in different ways. And whilst I haven't really resonated with any of her newer stuff, this is awesome, and this is where the magic is for me. The artwork is beautiful, and yeah, it's awesome. So this is still one of my favorite decks. I use it constantly. I pull it for people all the time, friends. I mean, when I go places, I take it with me because it's just super easy to use. You don't have to read the guidebook if you don't want to. You have the keywords here, and yet the guidebook is awesome. There's a chameleon card, which is so great because these are the kind of animals that we have in Reunion. There's a chameleon, there's a whale, there's a dolphin. Those are all animals that I can relate to. Look at that guidebook. Look how disgusting. Oh, I'm ashamed. This is so gross. But what can I say? I've used this to death. You know, I'm not lying when you see that gross guidebook. I've really used this to death. It's a well-beloved deck for sure. Let's move on to my fourth deck. So I had two tarot decks for ages. Then I got my first oracle deck. And then that's the time when I started to discover TarotTube. So at first, I discovered people reading tarot on YouTube. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. It was really helping me to learn. Some of them I didn't like how they read, but I still watched it because it taught me how I don't want to read. And some of them I love their style of readings and I learned a lot from. So that's always something I tell people as well. Like when they're asking me, how do you learn tarot? I'm like, don't just read books, but also practice, 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 and definitely watch people reading. I mean, there's tons of videos on YouTube of people doing readings on any kind of thing you want. If you don't vibe with a reader, you're bound to find another one that speaks to you, and you learn a lot from watching people read, and you learn a lot from watching people read who don't read the same way you do. Like, I encourage you to watch people even if they don't resonate with you, because you're going to learn something. Even if what you learn is, I don't agree with that, that's not how I want to read. That still teaches you something. So I got into like TarotTube this way, and then I started to discover TarotTube as like, you know, people who were talking, sharing their deck. Well, the first few channels I discovered, it was Esany and Katie Flowers. I'm sure a lot of us, the main people, I guess, a lot of us were watching. And I remember watching, it was one of Esany's video about the best tarot decks she would recommend for a beginner, and one of them was the Gaian Tarot she introduced, and I fell in love straight away about the guidebook she was presenting and the artwork and stuff, and so I got it. This was my fourth deck, the Gaian Tarot. I don't even know where the box is. The guidebook I still have, obviously, because it's an awesome guidebook and one of the best guidebooks still that I have read to this day for a mass market deck. So I really agree with Esany there. She was not lying. This is an awesome mass market deck for beginners or not. The guidebook is fantastic, but yeah, I've lost the box along the years. So normally it comes with big blue borders, and so I cut those off because they were quite ugly. But seeing that they are re-releasing this mass market deck in a new format and they've removed the ugly borders, they've just kept the white ones, and they've changed, I think, the cardstock, and I really want the new version, but there's also a part of me that's like, I'm so bonded to this one that would I use a new one? I don't know. But it looks beautiful though, and I'm so happy that they finally did this deck justice, because this is so good. It really deserves love, attention from the community. It's amazing. Like I said, the Gaian Tarot has one of the best guidebooks still to this day that I have read. It taught me so much. It gives you journaling prompts, it gives you little rituals, it gives you just a lot, right? Not just tarot meanings, it gives you associations with animals and plants, and I mean, I really enjoy Joanna Powell Colbert's work. I think she's definitely a high priestess. She has a lot of wisdom, she's very connected to nature, and you feel her energy in her decks. So grateful for Esany's video. I'm so grateful for her channel, for everything she's done over the years, because she helped me find this deck back in 2018, I think, and it again opened my world. It taught me how to journal with my deck, which I hadn't been doing up until then, and I just loved the connection to nature. I loved the fact that it was so relatable and that there were so many different kind of people in the deck, because I live in Reunion and people here, they come from all different places of the world, right? So it was important for me to feel like I could see my neighbors and my friends here, and just, yeah, this is really special. I love this deck. I don't use it as often now. Actually I do, but more in the summer. And right now we're getting into summer, so I feel like I've not used this deck in ages because it's been not summer. We're about to start it, but I feel like now that summer is on the horizon, I'm gonna put it out again. I don't know why I use it in the summer, because we definitely have winter and autumn cards, but to me the energy of it feels quite summery. So yeah, I'm gonna bring it out in the next couple of months. I really need to bring this out for a pick a card reading for you guys, because it's beautiful. And if you're looking for a mass market deck, affordable, that has a wonderful guidebook, this is it. This is just everything. This is so good. I can't say enough good things about this. As you can see, I'm really happy with my early journey in Tarot and Oracle, because there's nothing I let go of. There's nothing I regret. I've made mistakes later, don't get me wrong. There's been plenty decks that I got that I really did not resonate with. There's been plenty decks that I got that I ended up giving away, giving to friends, passing on and stuff. But my first 5, I'm realizing, were all wins. like, this is quite crazy, right? I looking back, I was like, wow, my first 5 are really great choices. I would not go back and change anything, because my last one, it was my second oracle deck, and it was the Sacred Destiny. And again, to this day, still one of my favorite oracle decks ever made. This is a mass market deck, and it's awesome. It's one, again, I've recommended to so many people when they're like, I want to get into oracle, I don't know which one to get. I'm like, get the Sacred Destiny. You're not going to be disappointed. It's, again, a people pleaser. It's beautiful, it's approachable, it's wise, it's kind, but it's also versatile and not too love and light. It's everything. It's a really, really good deck. Again, disgusting guidebook. When I say I'm a deck goblin, this is the gobliness in me, right? I mean, I'm not one of those cutesy, demure girlies. No, I'm a freaking goblin that obviously stains her decks with tea and coffee and God knows what. This deck has been many places with me. I took it on hikes, I took it in nature, I took it to friends, I took it everywhere. So you can see, again, look at those edges. I really should edge this because this is gross. But again, it shows how much I've used and love this deck, and that's the truth. That's just real life with you. So, and there's also something very charming about seeing an oracle deck very used, I think, or even a tarot deck when they look a bit battered and tattered and the box is falling apart. I quite love that, actually. And there's something very like special about that because it shows how much you've loved them. So this is a nature-based oracle, as you could see at the time, and still I guess to this day, although now I've definitely broadened in my taste. At the time I was definitely an oracle, a nature oracle girly. I was like, I love animals, I love plants, I want something that feels like it's connecting me back to nature. This was also a time when I spent most of my time in hospital or in bed. I was very, very sick. I couldn't go out, I couldn't walk, I couldn't shower myself, I couldn't do anything. It was a very bad time in my life, and so having a nature oracle really helped me to connect to nature when I was intro stuck in bed or in hospital. This helped me escape. It helped me connect back to nature when I couldn't physically walk or go out or spend time outside. And this is also why I'm so grateful for this deck, because it helped me during really hard times. I love the keywords, they're very expensive. I love that there's a good balance between light and shadow. This is a very like balanced deck. It feels like it has a good equilibrium. For each of the card we have an explanation as to what is on the card, like a description of the image, and then we have the meaning, and this is always related to nature, explaining like the landscape, because this is very much like landscape base. This pairs beautifully with tarot, it clarifies tarot, it's beautiful for daily draws, it's beautiful for beginners or not. In my not so humble opinion, one of the best oracle decks you can get mass market. Still after all these years of me getting it and having many other oracle decks, this is still one of the best ones. In terms of me starting with decks, I feel like I was super lucky. There was no mistakes. My first 5 decks, I still adore all of them. They still taught me so much. I would never part with them, and they really shaped me to be the reader I am, because still to this day. Now let's move on to the last 5 decks. So last 5 tarot and oracle decks. You haven't seen any of these decks on YouTube. I have to do a deck haul because there's more than these that I got before these arrived. So yeah, I'm due a deck haul. I'll try and film it after I finish this video. I don't think you've seen these decks on YouTube, but I have started to share some of them on Instagram, and it's been super interesting to check what are my last 5 versus my first 5, because first of the last, can I say that? Like the ones I got the least recently, but still recently. Gosh, English is so hard today, I don't know why. I'm a little bit flared up, so brain fog. But we have the Halloween Waite and the this one, which is the Winter Waite Redux edition. Remember I said my unofficial first deck, but actually the one I got in my hand in second, was the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's the system I learned on, it's the one deck I read the most about, it's what I taught myself how to read with. It was before I even got into tarot, when I got a tarot reading by a mom's friend like years before. She used this, so it was my vision of tarot at the time. After Over the years, I've gotten into Tarot de Marseille and you know, other systems like Lenormand, but the RWS is still my comfort zone. It's my favorite system, it's home. I always joke on my channel that the RWS is like period pens to me, right? They're comfortable. I can go back to it at any point and not have to worry if I'm gonna be able to read it, whether I'm tired or in pain or whatever. The RWS I can count on, and still to this day, I love me a good RWS clone, but I like them to have a theme. These two are from Tarot Collectibles. We have the Halloween Waite, which I've been using constantly in the month of October. So you'll see this one in my monthly favorite for October. You've seen me use it on Instagram. I've used it in my November pick a card. I've just been attached to this at the hip all month. And when I ordered this one, I also got the Winter Waite Redux edition, which we'll go into in a bit. So this is, as the name suggests, Halloween-inspired version of the RWS. I love Tarot Collectible stuff. I love their stuff. I have the Groovy Waite Tarot. I love it. I have their latest JK Tarot. Their version of re-edition of the JK Tarot. I love it. These two that I got recently, I'm obsessed with, and I love it so much that I even ordered other decks from them that haven't arrived yet. So I love their stuff. I think it's wonderful. It's RWS with a twist, and it just brings me joy. So this, as the name suggests, is a Halloween deck, and it's everything. I mean, it gives me the comfort zone of the RWS. It gives me all the, you know, no renaming, no fuss. It's just easy, so that appeals to me when I want something very clear and simple, but it's also fun and cheeky and joyful and just... It's Halloween, you guys. What else do you need? This was one of the only decks I've used all month of October. I loved it so much, I didn't want to put it down, so I used it for my November pick a card reading for you guys. I'll leave it in the cards if you haven't watched it yet. It's just so joyful. I'm obsessed with this. It's really clever. We have lots of different kind of costume, and this has quickly become my favorite Halloween themed deck. Like, I have the Trick or Treat Tarot, but I should really give that away because this is not gonna be surpassed, I don't think. Look at this Knight of Swords, it's so cute. Yeah, and it has a lot of pirates in the Pentacle suit, which I love. I live on a tropical island, I love me some pirates. Yeah, it's just really cool. And it comes with a lot of extra cards. We had an extra 3 of Swords, we had an extra 2 extra Fools, I believe. We had another 6 of Swords, 8 of Wands. I love Tarot Collectible because they always give you options of cards. That's another thing I love about them. As you can see, I'm still to this day an RWS girly. However, I need them to give me something different. Like, I don't have a lot of versions of the RWS in the sense of like the Pamela Coleman Smith version. I just have the borderless one, I think, and the Moon Baby one, which is another coloring, and it's like a 70s version of an RWS, but it's not the OG Pamela Coleman Smith one. From Pamela Coleman Smith, I only have this one and the borderless. Now, I still love the RWS, but I want them to give me something a little bit extra, which this definitely does. So love this one. The other one I got from Tarot Collectible is the Winter Waite Redux, and look at this. Ooh, look at this. Sparkly, sparkly. This is so cute. As I've said before, I live in a tropical island. Do I get snow in winter? No. Actually, when it's winter for the majority of you guys, it's boiling hot for me. Like, I'm getting into summer where I am. It's gonna be about 35 to 40 degrees Celsius every day. It's gonna be super hot, and the vibe is definitely more gonna be mosquitoes and coconuts than snowman. I like to live my little fantasy, so I got this deck. So I don't know why I had the same full twice. I don't know why they gave me that twice, I'm not sure, but I'll probably use it in like a bookmark or something. And we had another world. And the cool thing about Tarot Collectible is you can always get their decks in 2 different versions. You can get the glitter version like this, which is my first time getting the glitter effect or the sparkle effect. And for the snow one, it's so beautiful. Look at that, it's so cool. They usually have their decks in different options like this. You can get it with the sparkle or without the sparkle. I decided to try the sparkle, and here are the back, because I thought for snow it would look quite cool, and I was not wrong. This is so cool. As you can see, I've not shuffled this one yet because I've been using the Halloween one, but this is a winter themed, winter fantasy, snow wind, Santa, and snowflakes and all of that. inspired RWS. There is absolutely no chance of me getting snow anytime soon. I like to live my fantasy through my decks. Like, we don't have autumn really where I live. We don't have really seasons. It's like hot or super hot. But when I use decks that give me autumn vibes, I can pretend it's autumn, and you know, it gives me those seasonal vibes that I still enjoy. I love tropical vibes. I was born in France, and I spent a lot of my childhood in France, and particularly all my family on my mother's side is from the Alps, so I have a lot of childhood memories that involves the snow. My mom was a ski teacher, so you know, I was put on skis as soon as I could walk. So I still have a very strong bond with the snow. I just don't get it now where I live, and this is why I wanted to get this deck to relive my childhood fantasy of snow. And when it can be boiling outside and I have the fan on and I'm sweating, I can pretend that it's snowy and escape to this magical winterland. So that's why I got this deck, to be a little bit delusional and live my winter fantasy. So please don't judge me. I'm delusional, but at least I'm self-aware. This is, as the name suggests, it's an RWS. But full of snow and just so cute, and I love the addition of the sparkle. It really works with the snow theme. There's different winter theme decks for tarot collectible. The one I got is a winter Waite redux because it was more winter and less Christmas. They have another winter Waite, which is I can't remember the name of it, and that second one is definitely more Christmas and Santa. I think it's called Santa's Helpers actually, and it does give you more Santa vibes and Christmas vibes than winter. But I wanted snow fantasy. I wanted like pretend I'm back to my grandmother's house in the Alps and I'm going like sledging down the hills fantasy. So this is why I got this one. I've not shuffled it yet. I'm keeping it for December when it's gonna be really, really hot here and I can pretend I'm back in the snow. Let's move on, continuing my last 5 decks. We have the only Oracle deck. Again, I guess that reinforces the fact that I'm still more a tarot girly than an Oracle girly, although I definitely have a lot of Oracle decks now, and I really, really enjoy them, and I have a lot of them, and I work with them a lot. My tarot collection is still more so consisted of tarot decks to this day, but this, oof, I love this, you guys. I recently gotten it and I'm obsessed. I've only had this for like 3-4 days now, but I'm blown away. It's a Memento Mori by Claire Goodchild, or Black and the Moon. I've been wanting this deck for years. This year I finally decided to order it. I ordered it quite a long time in advance, but it took a long time to arrive to me, and yet it arrived the day before Halloween, which was like 4 days ago, because when I'm filming this it's the 2nd of November. I got this like the 30th of October. I mean, perfect timing. It literally arrived the eve before Samhain, so I could use this for my Halloween reading, and specifically my Samhain reading, and even more specifically like my reading around connecting with my ancestors that I did on the 1st of November, which is in France the Day of the Dead, or we call it Toussaint. So this is what originally I wanted this deck for, to connect with my ancestors, to do ancestral readings, and it literally arrived the day before Samhain and the Day of the Dead. Talk about divine timing here. Couldn't have arrived at a better time, and especially because I had ordered this months prior. This, a lot of you will be very familiar with this. It's a hybrid between a Lenormand deck and an Oracle. It's got over 80 cards, which is awesome. I love a big Oracle deck. They're my favorite kinds. I'm a greedy deck with a lot of cards. Honestly, an Oracle that feels like a tarot has my heart. I freaking love that. This is beautiful. I think a lot of you are familiar with Claire Goodchild's artwork. I have her Antique Anatomy tarot, but I have the French mass market version, which is called the Tarot du Bien-être. And I'd been wanting this Oracle deck for a long time, and finally took the plunge, and ooh, it did not disappoint. The communication with this one is so clear, and whilst originally I had thought of using this for ancestral reading, which I've done, and it was amazing, I also realizing now, having it for the last like 3-4 days, that this is also awesome for divination, for predictive readings, for looking at the energies of the week, the months ahead. So I definitely need to use this for you guys for a future reading, because I've done already some readings for friends and stuff with this, and oof, it speaks so clearly. It's really, really clear. Just fluid, very fluid. No bullshit, straight to the point, sharpshooter. you don't need to figure out what it's trying to tell you. It is so clear, and obviously it's also very beautiful. The funny thing when I think about this, because obviously this is first 5, last 5, is that my past self would have been really scared of this. Like past Marine would have looked at some of these images and be like, hell no, not today, Satan. I would have been feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I'm realizing as my time grows and I'm developing as a tarot reader, I'm definitely a lot more comfortable with the creepy, with the dark, with the spooky, whereas past Marine was very easily intimidated, and maybe that came from a lack of self-confidence as a reader. Maybe it came from people at the time giving you this idea that tarot can be dangerous and all of that, even though I never really believed that. You have all those preconceptions, I guess, which put me off from these kinds of images, and now I freaking love this. So this is the way, it definitely a way in which I've evolved as a reader, is that obviously my tastes have evolved and I appreciate different things aesthetically, and yeah, this kind of deck, I know that my past self would have been intimidated by it, whereas now I freaking am obsessed. So that's the Memento Mori. It's awesome, and I know a lot of you guys have it and enjoy it. Let me know actually in the comments if you have this, how you read with it, if you enjoy it. I made an order in October to Salon des Arcanes, which is a French-based tarot shop. So I'll make sure to leave the link down below. I really enjoy shopping from Nicolas' shops. He stores indie decks, mass market decks, and he has lots of awesome choices. And if you're based in Europe, it's definitely a shop you should check out. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I'm just sharing with you the places and small businesses I enjoy shopping from. And the Salon des Arcanes always has some awesome selections, and so in October I ordered from them 2 decks. I got the Anima Mundi and the Botan Tarot, both decks that I had been wanting for ages. So let's start with the Anima Mundi. This tells you, if I think about past self versus my current self, that I'm still a huge animal lover, right? I told you one of my first decks was, we had the Animal Spirit Oracle, we had the Sacred Destiny, we had the Gaian Tarot. You can tell that nature is something I really enjoyed back then, all those years ago, and it's still something I really love and enjoy now. So here are the backs. This is a deck that's been on my wish list for years, probably like 4 or 5 years now, and I every time I had in the mind to get this, it was sold out. Like when I was going on Etsy to get it, it was sold out. I know Nicolas had it for a bit, it was sold out. So it was one that I was like, I'll get it eventually, but it never seemed to be the right time. And it's not that it sells that often, because I think they reprint this constantly, but it's just that when I wanted it, couldn't get my hands on it. And then suddenly in October, originally I went to Nicolas' shop to get this one, which was just reprinted, which I had been wanting. And when I saw that he had restocked this, I was like, okay, this is my time. You're coming with me. It's been too long. This is a deck that's very beloved by the community. It's been out for years, I think. It was one of the first, I think, indie decks that really got popular for good reason. It's absolutely stunning, and you can tell that in terms of animals, nature, this is still a theme I really enjoy. It's something that really speaks to me as a reader and that I continue to really adore. Would I have gotten this when I started reading tarot? Probably not, because I would have been a little bit apprehensive of the pips, thinking I wouldn't be able to read it. Not that it's a pip deck, because it's definitely not. There's plenty of illustrations here, and most of the minor arcana is illustrated, but it's not a traditional tarot in the sense that it has all the regular symbolism that we are used to, right? So I think especially those kind of landscape ones where we just have 3 wands, I think like past Marine would have probably thought she wouldn't be able to read with it. You know, those limiting beliefs we put on ourselves, especially when we start tarot, we're like, oh, this is going to be too difficult for me, I don't think I can do it. And that's okay. You have to take it at your own pace. You have to be kind with yourself. If you don't feel like you can do pips, then don't. Like, you don't have to. And if you feel like you want to start learning with pips, then do. I mean, I always say on my channel, you do you, boo. Literally, no one can tell you this is how you should do it, this is what you're not supposed to do. Fuck that. you do you. If you're attracted to something, go for it. If something doesn't call to you, then don't go there. It's simple. Listen to your own guidance, follow your intuition. But yeah, in terms of my personal experience, I know that at the time when I started tarot, this would have probably felt a little bit too outside my comfort zone. Quickly, I think a year or two after I started, I would have definitely felt comfortable with this, because I was even trying to get it at the time and I couldn't get my hands on it. So I'm really glad I finally managed to get this. Not again that it's hard to get, but I don't know why it continually escaped me until now. So again, perfect timing. I believe things arrive in the right time, and this is so beautiful. This is a really, really beautiful deck. I'm excited to read with it for you guys, to use it in pick a card readings, because I really love the associations they've done for each of the cards and the animals. It's giving you a little bit pagan otherworldly vibes, if you're familiar with that one, pagan otherworlds, but with animals. And I love this one. This is one of the cards that may be by the deck. Also, we have a humpback whale in the deck, which is why I got the deck also. As soon as there's a humpback whale, I have to buy it. I can't help myself. It's outside of my control. So the humpback whale made me buy it, and this is the card I was looking for. This otter, Page of Cups. Oh my god, I freaking love otters as well. Just my Instagram feed is full of otters and humpback whales videos, and you know what? I'm not even mad about it. This is pure joy. So I really have been enjoying getting to know this. I've had this since I would say mid-October, so we're still getting used to each other, getting to know each other. I'm gonna use this in November anyway. Excited to come back and share with you guys my thoughts. So let's wrap it up. The last deck I will share with you today was the Botan Tarot, which I also got from Nicolas from Salon des Arcanes. This is an indie deck, it's a re-edition. The Botan Tarot had been out of print for a long time. I had missed the original printing, and so when I saw that they were reprinting it and that Nicolas was stocking it, I did not hesitate. This is the main reason why I ordered from his shop. So yeah, I'm so happy I finally have this in my hands. This is beautiful. I mean, if again, one I feel like a lot of you will have seen. I've not read with this one yet. As you can see, it's still in order because I've been getting to know the Anima Mundi. But oh my goodness, how beautiful it is. It's a dream. And this is very interesting because this is one that I think past Marine would have loved as well. It's one I love now, after like years of learning tarot, reading with tarot and stuff, getting decks, growing my tarot library. But it's one that I feel like even past me would have absolutely loved. So again, I guess it shows that sometimes our tastes evolve, like just the Memento Mori, for example, that I was telling you, I don't think past me would have liked it. I would have felt a little bit intimidated. Whereas this, I think past me would have absolutely adored because it feels beautiful and it just feels right. So in some ways we grow and we evolve and we learn, and thankfully so, I want to say. I mean, gosh, can you imagine not changing your mind, not evolving, not growing? How boring. I love changing my mind about things. I think it's important to be open to that, like thinking you don't like something and then eventually changing your mind, or thinking you know something and then realizing you don't. With like tarot, for example, I feel like I know nothing, even though I read so many books and I've been reading for years now, and I've read for quite a few people in my lifetime. I still feel like I know nothing. But there's also a comforting side, which is that when something is meant for you and something resonates with you, doesn't matter how much you've evolved and you change, you'll recognize yourself in it. And this is definitely a deck I think that past me would have really enjoyed. It's just something about the watercolor, about the artwork, the Asian inspiration, the nature, obviously, which you know is a big thing for me. You've seen my previous deck. Oh, it's just so beautiful. So yeah, this feels very special. I'm so glad I finally have these decks in my hand. I love the one suits with all the foxes. That's absolutely my favorite suit because I love a fox. The court cards are so gorgeous. My god, there are so many handsome, beautiful people in this deck. It's like, it shouldn't be allowed to be so many beautiful, gorgeous people in this deck. Oh, and I love the coin suit too. I mean, I love it all. And this is my favorite card, Three of Coins. There's something so sweet and enchanting about this Three of Coins. This might be my favorite Three of Coins ever, because normally it's a card like I like it, but I don't feel emotionally touched by it, if that makes sense. Like intellectually it's a card I understand and I like when it comes up because I like the message, but it doesn't touch my heart. This does. This makes me want to squeal with joy. So yeah, Again, if you guys have this deck, if you enjoy it, if how you read with it, it's another one I will definitely be offering for pick a card readings and readings on my channel, because I can't keep this gorgeousness to myself. It deserves to be shared. It's really, really special. So yeah, this is the last deck I wanted to share with you guys today. I'm gonna leave it here because I'm starting to flare up a little bit, but I wanted to say thank you so much, first of all, to Katie Moonflower Moments for creating this tag. I had a lot of fun doing this. It was fun to go back and kind of compare how my taste has changed, how it has not. I want to hear from you guys. If you want to let me know in the comments, you don't have to give me 5 if you don't want, but what was your first deck versus your last deck? I'd love that we have this chat in the comments. I love to chat with you guys, and I try to respond to all of my comments. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and until my next video, I'm sending you so much good vibes, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!